I've had a few inquiries about how to photograph fireworks effectively, and it's a technique that I think is quite simple. I hope I can show you how simple it is. You can also use this technique for long exposures with traffic light trails as well. So let's get going, and I'll show you a couple of examples to start with. I've got a shot here which I took in Switzerland last year. I set the tripod up on a hilltop looking over the curving road here, and took first of all a shot to get a nice sunset effect, slightly long exposure which you can see from the movement of the clouds here. Then I set about taking multiple exposures, one photo after another, every time a car went up or down this road, and my exposures were around about 30 seconds each. Now, the cars couldn't get all the way down or up in this time, so I continued taking shots until it was really dark, but of course the light trails remain bright. And I've overlaid them and blended them together with a technique which I'll show you in just a moment. And the other example I have here is fireworks from the other evening. There wasn't really that much happening in the area, but I set the tripod up, left it in one position. Most exposures were 30 seconds as well, and I just continued shooting for 1 hour, and again stacked these together and blended them. So a single shot, for example, is something like this. You see, with one little bit of fireworks, but I kept shooting, and we had fireworks in other areas, and step by step a bunch of fireworks, and I believe I took around 105 photos for this, and blended together, that's the final result. I don't remember how many I took for this, but there's probably 40 or 50 photos in here. So the next step is I'll show you how to put these together. So ready to start, and I'm going to take, instead of the normal TIFFs that I would use for the sake of speed, I'm going to use JPEG versions of the edited photos. By editing I mean I've just dealt a little bit with shadow areas, highlight areas and so on in Lightroom, and I've saved all of these to one folder as TIFFs, but for our example I'm going to use JPEGs because with TIFFs it took about an hour. We don't have that time, and I'm really promise you this time I'm going to make a much shorter version of that. Okay, let's go. Right, so we're going to first of all go in Photoshop to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack, look for the files. Oh, here are my normal Lightroom edits here, and you can see that it's got nearly 32 gigabytes of images in there, so each one of those is a TIFF. But for speed we'll go in here to the smaller JPEGs, and I'm going to select them all, say OK. There we go. Got them all in. Now normally what you do is attempt to automatically align. I didn't do that this time because everything was perfectly well aligned, but with so many it's going to be a huge job to properly align them if there's anything out of alignment. But you'll have to check it. Away we go, loading them in. Bam, there they are, they're all in. And at this point, of course, you can only see the first one, this one here. Now if I turn them off one by one, you can see what's underneath them. So the first one has a little bit of fireworks in it. There's something in the next one. Something in the next one. Alright, so some of these have something, some of them don't. The water's moving. Remember, these are 30-second exposures. See the few times the little groups of people around there. Right, but for the sake of this exercise I'm going to leave all of the images in the stack. I think for my example, when I finally finished it, I had removed some of the images which were totally unnecessary. So what we're going to do now is select all images. Let's go down to here, and we've got them all. Very simple. back up here, you can see where it says normal. Have a look at the menu. Click the menu down and go to lighten, and we'll see the magic begin. Look at that. Everything that is bright in the image now shows up in the final image. Basically, that's the finished result. Of course, I did do a few minor tweaks to this finally, and you can do this too if you want to. For example, zooming in here, we see it's kind of a mess of people around here. Now, I need to find out which image they are in and basically mask off whatever I don't want to show up in the final image. And we're not going to do that now. By masking, I simply mean, I'll give you a quick example. Let's say we don't want this particular fireworks to appear. Very easy to remove it. Click the image, put a mask on it, take a black brush, 100% black, soft edge, and just do that. So if there's something you don't want to appear in the final image, just put a mask on it, and it's easy. That's it, folks. Same thing happened when I did this. Set that up, blended them all together with the lighten mode, brushed away the dark sky from the later photographs so that I had my sunset sky still in the picture, and bingo, easy. And there's the final result from the other night. You can see here I've carefully masked away most of the people and a few other unnecessary explosions of light that happened in some other areas here. Alright, that's it. Tripod. Set the right exposure for the first shot. Take continuous shots after that so that nothing moves. Stack them. You may need to adjust alignment, but that's another story. Try it first and then hit the lighten mode. When you've finished, by the way, when it's gone through the process and lightened everything, just flatten all the layers and save that back as a TIFF for any further editing that you may need to do. Thank you. That's all. Good night.